All right, so we're gonna go over some of the top reasons your glutes are not growing. That's right, top reasons that butt is not growing. All right, so let's go ahead and cover a couple things. I have some bullet comments here, so bear with me. Weak glutes are quite common in most of our population today. This is mostly caused by sitting down most of the day, which causes the hips and the hip flexors to be put in a constant state of flexion, okay? This causes the anterior muscles of the body to become tight and shortened, which in turn causes the posterior muscles of the body, the glutes and hamstrings, to become lengthened or loose, which means they are in fact weak and weakened. So now that we got this out of the way, let's move on to some of the better glute exercises to get that butt growing again, and briefly talk about the form that needs to be used to once again get those glutes firing correctly and get that butt growing. I will also discuss some of the different angles along with the importance of stretching and squeezing the glutes when you're performing these exercises. So let's move on to some good glute exercises. Number one would be barbell thrust or Smith machine hip thrust. This is an excellent exercise that can not only help really isolate the glutes, especially if you're using the Smith machine, but you can also really pack the weight on the bar and track your progress and continue to progress in weight, because after all, a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. So don't be afraid to go a bit heavier on those. Number two, the hip abduction machine, okay? These are excellent for really isolating the muscle. Make sure you change the angle of this exercise by leaning forward at roughly a 45-degree angle while using your hands to stabilize when you're performing this exercise. Another one would be rope cable pull-throughs. These are excellent for really isolating the glutes as well and providing them with a good solid stretch and a good deep contraction. Free weight wide stance squats. These are excellent for building thickness in the glute area. Number one, you want to go very deep in this squat. The more you go past parallel, the more your glutes are going to take over. Number two, make sure to take a very wide stance with your with your feet and toes pointed out at a 45-degree angle. Using this setup and this wide stance will cause the glutes and hamstrings to take over. Moving on, the next one, straddle lift and or straddle squat. These really put your body in a position where you can really not cheat during this exercise, which makes them so great. You want to line up two different benches, right? Fairly wide. You might want to do a test run and take your left foot and stand on the left bench and your right foot and stand on the right bench, and find out which bench width, right, how far they are apart, works for you. Make sure you're nice and wide, feet and toes pointed slightly out at a 45-degree angle, and you're going to squat straight down while holding the weight under you, okay? Grab a dumbbell or a kettlebell for that, and you can look that exercise up on YouTube. Resistance band side steps, okay? These are excellent for, once again, isolating the glutes, forcing them to properly stretch and contract. This would be a good exercise to use as a pre-exhaustion exercise prior to performing some of your heavier compound movements for legs. So after you've listened to this, you've concluded that you're doing most of these exercises, but guess what? Your glutes still aren't growing. I'm going to give you some tips. Number one, do not be afraid to increase the weight on any of these exercises. Increasing the load or the amount of the weight is going to increase the intensity of the exercise. And we know that a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle, so continue to progress and strengthen the glute area is important too. Keep a log of the number of sets, reps, and weight and exercises that you're doing during your workouts, okay? This will really help you continue to progress in the amount of weight you're using. Number three, use some exercises that really isolate the glutes and force you to use proper form. Do not focus too much on the amount of weight you're using. Train your glutes more frequently throughout the week. If you're only working glutes once per week, then increase to 2 to 3 times per week in order to add more weekly training volume. Okay? Let's go back to number 4 again. Train your glutes more frequently. If you've only been training glutes once a week and they're not growing, right, but you've been doing some intense workouts at once or exercises at once per week, increase to 2 to 3 times per week and hit your glutes more frequently. And go back to number 3 again. Use exercises that really force the glutes and really isolate the glutes, right? And force you to use proper form. Do not focus so much on the amount of weight. Focus on the deep stretch and the contraction of the glutes. All right, I hope these exercises get that rump growing. I hope you guys have a excellent weekend coming up. For more information on my online weekly training plans, online weekly diet plans, my bodybuilding or physique show prep coaching, as well as my one-on-one personal training sessions, feel free to contact me via message, or I might post my contact information below. Hope you guys have an awesome day. I'm out.